Okay, good. So let's make sure you all get to see my hands. So if you can't see them, raise your hand. Okay, so are you looking at my face? Do you have one? Do you have a grid with all the faces of the attendings, or do you see just one screen? Just one. Okay. On the upper right side, there's a grid that you get to select if you just see the person that is talking, or if you see the gallery. So select the gallery. That way you will be able to see all the people, and then you can select my hands. There's paper on my hands, and you will be able to pin it. So you just see this ones for a bit, okay? Is anyone else having trouble to see my hands and my face, or at least my hands? No, Lucas? Okay, we're good with Lucas. Ivan, are you okay? Let's just give thumbs up if things are working. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, working. Okay, good. So, Javier, should we start now?
Yeah, go ahead. There are people who probably will be joining as we go along, but I'll just admit them, and we'll go from there.
Okay, good. So as I said, we need regular paper. We need pencils, maybe a few markers, and maybe a sharpener and erasers. Okay, good. So I'll start with my slides. I'll share you the concepts that we're gonna go through today. And then we're gonna do hands-on under the camera, a storyboard or a comic, okay? So both the storyboards and comics share different aspects and they have some differences. So we're gonna walk over those and then you guys decide whether you wanna do a storyboard or a comic, okay? So let me just start by sharing my slides. Okay. Okay, so do you all see my slides now? Yes, thumbs up. Good. Okay, so most likely you guys are more familiar with comic than storyboards, but the storyboard is the process of drawing the films that before we make them, okay? Whether it's live action or it's an animated movie, all the films go through this process before they become what we see on the screen. So this is a process where they take the ideas and the scripts and they turn them into something visual before they start recording, shooting, or drawing the films. Hold on, I see someone has a question. Raise your hand if you have questions, okay? Let me just make this bigger so I can see your faces. Okay, good. So for a storyboard or a comic, we have different shot compositions. So by shot compositions, I mean what we see on the thumbnail of the comic or eventually on the screen when we see a film. So I'll walk you through the different shot compositions by amount of things that we see on the screen or on the shot. And then we will go over the shots depending on the position of the camera or the viewer. So first, we have the extreme wide or establishing shot. So we see a lot of the space. So we could see the neighborhood, we could see a school. So it's a shot where we see the space where the story it's gonna go. And it's gonna show us details, like general details of the background. Now, if we get closer and we see sort of like the characters, that's gonna be a long or far wide shot. We still get to see the environment, but then we start getting to see the characters. A full shot, our third one, it's a shot where we see the character, like full-size character, and we start getting to identify who it is because we're closer. A medium shot is from the waist up or the waist down. So we use those shots to start seeing or more details of the actions that our characters are doing. Then we have the close-up shot. So on the last two, the close-up and the extreme close-up, I know right now we just see the face, but we could also have close-ups of other parts of the world, the body. For example, close-ups of the hands doing an action, or maybe just instead of an extreme close-up of the eye, we get an extreme close-up of the mouth. Maybe our character is showing something. So we want to see just the face or the mouth. So we use those shots to emphasize on the actions or some details that are important to the story. Now, we can also have close-ups and extreme close-ups of objects. Okay, so if there's maybe a treasure or they're looking for something and we know it's under the bed, then maybe we have a little bit of the bed and we show where that thing is hidden. Okay, so those are the shot compositions by amount of things that we see in the screen or the thumbnail when we are drawing. Then we have our shots depending on the position of the camera or our viewer's point of view. So a straight on is as we were looking straight or standing. See, so that's the first one. That's the more general one. Now the up shot is like if we were looking to, if we were small and looking to our parents. So we're looking up and things around us are maybe higher and bigger. Now this down shot, it's quite the opposite. It's as we were looking down. So maybe like looking to our pets. So they look smaller, they're at a lower level. And then we have extreme versions of the previous two ones. So we have the worm's eye view, that it's like a worm's view. So it's completely from the floor. Like imagine you're a worm and you're looking up. Or the other one, it's the bird's eye view, like if you were on the ceiling looking down or on the sky. So we use those shots to convey different perspectives and to show different details of our stories. We could also have over the camera shot, so things are going on top of where we're standing. And those are, in general, the shots that we're gonna see today. Then we have also shots depending on how many characters we have. Jojo, do you have a question? Could you say your question, please?
Yeah. So back to the storyboard. What is the over camera? I'm not understanding what it really is.
Over the camera. Okay. Over the camera is like if your perspective is on the floor and things are coming from behind you and going on top of you and then continue to go. Or like if you're a toy car and then a car passes above you, okay, and you see the car coming sort of like through you, but it's on top, it's over where you are.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the shots by maybe how many people we have. So we have group shots or 2 people shots or 3 people shots. But most importantly, out of these ones, I want us to see the POV shot, the point of view. So the point of view is as if our camera, it's our eyes. So if my camera is looking down to my hands, then I would see my hands and a little bit of my my legs, right? So it probably moves not steadily, like it would move with my head. So it's looking as if I was the camera. Okay, so if the camera was my eyes. So that when I say a POV, that's a point of view, and it's a camera that we try to resemble the eyes of one of the characters. Okay, so from here, then we have other a little bit more complex shots, like a tilt or a Dutch angle. And those are shots that we start like twisting the camera a little bit to make it more interesting. But let's just stay with the ones that we just discussed, okay? Now, let's go over camera movements. So we are talking about the storyboard as we were gonna make a film, right? So because this is the previous process of making a film. Now, if you look at your cartoons and the shows that you like, the camera sometimes follow the characters or move around the room. So for those actions that we want the camera to perform, we have different ways to show in the storyboard that action is gonna happen. So we usually just use arrows to indicate that we're zooming in or that we're zooming out. Okay, so these are the small the small arrows that we use, and we put the rectangle for where we want the camera to look at. So we'll see an example of this with my hands later on. So a few things that we need to from this page that are important are two movements. One is tilt. So tilting is when we're moving in a vertical way, the camera. So looking down and up or up and down. So it's tilt up or tilt down. Now, then we have a pan. So a pan is when we are rotating our perspective on the horizon, okay? So let's stay with those for now. And remember that we're gonna use arrows to show where we want the action to move or the camera to move, okay? Now, here's sort of like a summary of all the things that we just discussed. So we see a character and how we divide the shot by how much we see from that character, okay? So if it's like really small, or sort of like just the face, it's an extreme close-up, and as we open, we get to a full shot. Now, keep in mind that we decide on the shot by the actions of the story. Okay, so if there's something very important happening on our story, so I don't know, we have a superhero fixing or I don't know, disconnecting a bomb. Now, if we see a full shot where we see the whole city and we see just this tiny character doing something in the middle, then we're not gonna get the details, right? But if we have a medium shot, maybe we just see him from the waist up and we see his hands doing what he's doing, then we will understand what he's doing. Okay, so then remember, let's also remember about these arrows that were the ones that I mentioned earlier. They're gonna help us show the camera movements or the different positions that we wanna move our point of view throughout the background. Okay, so you guys are probably more familiar with comics. Who likes comics here? Raise your hand. Okay, so I think you're probably more avid with comics than I am, but we're gonna discuss the differences between a storyboard and comic. They do share a lot, but they have differences, okay? So in the comic, one very big important thing is the onomatopoeia. So that is all the sounds that we have on the left. So it's visualizing sound, okay? So it could be a bang, a sup, a pow, like all the sounds that we somehow get to see and experience throughout a comic, okay? We don't have those on a storyboard because eventually that storyboard, it's gonna become a film. And with the film, we will have sound design. So we'll actually hear those sounds. So we don't put these ones on the storyboard, okay? Now, the other big difference is the layout of our thumbnails. So a thumbnail, it's the square that has a bit of a story, okay? So our shot composition. Now, on the storyboard, they are rectangular. They're the size of the screen or the aspect ratio of the screen. Yes, Lucas, that's a storyboard template. So on the storyboard, they're always going to be the same size because our screen is not going to change usually the aspect ratio of the screen, right? While on the comic, it's going to vary a lot. So we might get very long and twisted like shape thumbnails. They can bear, we usually read it in Western society from left to right, up to down, right? Now, the other difference is jumping the frame. As you can see in this image, we have characters sort of like jumping from one thumbnail to another to emphasize different actions and connect those actions from the story. Now, on the storyboard, we're not gonna have that because it's gonna turn into a film, right? Now, all the sounds and the dialogues on the storyboard are written on the bottom with the description. And on the comic, we see the bubbles with the dialogue and we see the onomatopoeia icons with the stars and different images that try to show us how that sounds feel like, okay? Here's another example of a comic, and we can see how the thumbnails, they're all different shapes, and how we have the bubbles and the sounds. Now going back to the storyboard, and this also applies for the comic. Let's talk about our characters and how we draw them on the paper. So there are very important things when doing a storyboard, and is that we need to be able to read the character's actions, okay? So for those things, we have two things. We have silhouette and we have line of action. Now, the silhouette, it's the overall shape of our character's shape. Okay, so it's like a silhouette, but the important about this is that we need to read the action, but just the silhouette. So here's a good example with Pepe Grillo when he's eating an ice cream. So on the upper one, we see him from the side eating ice cream. And on the other one, it's on the front. So if we see the silhouette, we don't understand the action, right? We don't know what he's doing because we have too many overlapping shapes. So the ice cream, it's hiding on the center of the body. Meanwhile, on the upper side image, we see him eating ice cream. Okay, so this is very important later on to make our character. So let's not make it all facing to the front doing the action. Let's try to figure out a way that we read the action that they're doing. So let's say I'm drinking coffee. If I do it like this in my drawing, you're not, and you just see my silhouette, you're not gonna know what I'm doing. Now, if I turn it like this, and you see this part and you see my hand holding on it and it's from the side, you'll know that I'm drinking coffee, okay? So it's the same. It's important that we read the actions that our characters are doing. Now, the other thing, it's the line of action. So we usually make our characters standing very still. but the line of action is sort of like the line that defines the whole action for the pose. So whether usually it's a curve, we try to use curves instead of straight lines. We try to use to avoid too many overlapping shapes. So overlapping shapes would be like my hand in front of my face, because you, for the silhouette, you won't see what my hand is doing. While if we do it like this, you will know that I have a hand in front of my face, right? Now let's talk about the story a little bit, okay? So for today's exercise, we're gonna create a tiny 3-act story, okay? So let's talk about the acts. But before I start talking about story, let's see if we have questions, okay? Any questions so far? Jojo, you have a question? No? Okay, no questions. Good. So let's talk about story. So this comes from Disney. It's the if the here is the hero's journey, and if you analyze all that,
Hey, Adriana, you're breaking up. So you just broke up right there.
Hold on, is this better?
Yeah, sounds better.
Okay, good. So for the I was saying the 3-act story comes along with most of the Disney movies films. They go over the hero's journey. So by hero's journey, I mean most of the characters, whether they're good or bad, they have a crisis, they try to fix it, and in their journey, they learn something, they fix it, and that's the end of the film. So on the first act, we have the exposition. On the exposition, we show the world of our film. Whether it's a Christmas film, a puppet film, a superhero, we show how the world of the film goes. Then we have the second act, that it's a setback, a confrontation, like something happened that disrupts the first act, like the life of our film is disrupted by something that happened. And then we have a crisis. Then our third act is the resolution and the climax. So our characters, our heroes, start doing something and figuring out things to fix it or fight it. And we have a climax when they fight or they figure out how to solve it. And that's a resolution. Okay, things could go back to how life was in the setup, or life on our film just changed. Okay, but we have these 3 acts to create the story. So we're gonna try to use that one for the stories that we're gonna create today. Now, I have a beat sheet. So it's like a summary in beats of my story here. So I'll do the storyboard with you. I'll show what I'm doing. And then you guys are gonna start doing your own storyboards, okay? So my film, it's about a baby that is getting all the attention in the house, and then the dog is getting jealous. So that's the first act. That's the life in the world of my film. Now the second act is that the baby is thirsty and starts crawling and dangerously cruising in the kitchen looking for milk. And then the dog has to step up and help the baby not to fall. Okay, so in the process, they're gonna learn to be friends, and they're gonna get the milk. Okay, so that's the resolution. They need to figure out things between the two of them and help each other, and that's how they give the milk. So as you can see, I have the same structure that I show you over here. So we have the setup, the confrontation, and the resolution. Now I'm gonna go back to my hands over here and show you that I started already doing the storyboard for the first act. So at this point, you guys need to decide whether you want to do a storyboard or a comic. If you do a storyboard, I highly recommend that you use smaller pieces of paper instead of drawing like the rectangles on the page, because this way we can swap the organization of our shots and maybe change it later on. If you're doing a storyboard, you can use a template. I remember someone had one, maybe it was Lucas. And you could do in just one page, different shapes and sizes for your thumbnails. Now I'll show you what I was working on with my story. So first I'll have establishing shot of the neighborhood. See, so we see all the houses, how the neighborhood is. And we see in a window, there's two people with a baby. So it's very far, but the importance of the shot is to see where the story takes place. Now, after that, I have, oh my goodness. Do you guys get to see this one? Let me just get closer. Is this close enough? Yes. Okay, so now we see two parents playing with a baby on the living room, and then the dog is like on the side, very sad and like bored. So we're still establishing where our story takes place, right? So now we're showing the house. Now we see that the dog is very bored and annoyed, so it's covering his ears. And we see that they leave the baby alone here, and they probably say, I don't know, Rufus, take care of the baby, like keep an eye on him or her. And he's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Then we go to a very closer detail of his eyes. So this is an extreme close-up, right? Because we are going super close. And from here, I'll have to continue doing the story. So where's the other one? So for that one, I have to continue with the story.
Adriana, if you want to stop sharing your screen for a minute, it should make
yes.
the video bigger.
Okay, hold on. Okay, then let me go over this once again. So you guys see my hands, right? Okay, so we're gonna start with the neighborhood where the story is taking place. So the way I did this is I started doing everything in pencil like the other drawings. And once I figure out how I wanted the story to work, then I inked or I went through all my lines with markers, okay? But only until I knew this was a good drawing for the story, okay? So first we're just gonna go with pencil. So this is my extreme wide shot. We see the neighborhood. Then we see the detail of the parents playing with the baby and taking all the attention. Then we open again a little bit and we see that the dog is quite annoyed with all the attention that the baby is getting. So he's alone and he's sad behind of the couch. So we're gonna see a little bit more. We're gonna get closer to a medium shot. And that's how we know that he's sad and he's annoyed. So we wanna focus on his actions. And yes, here he's annoyed. So we see the eyes like rolling his eyes like, not again, this baby. And then we see that the parents leave the baby in the living room and they say, Rufus, keep an eye on the baby. And he's like, oh no. And he covers his ears. Okay, so that's up to here. That was our first act. So we were showing what the life on the film is like. Okay, now the second act starts here when the parents leave. Now from here on, I'll start drawing my storyboards with you guys. Okay, so the other thing that I'll do is that I have this big drawing of the house. So remember that we talk about moving the camera around. So what I could do for this is that I'll start with the baby here in the living room. And I want the baby to crawl all the way up on the couch and something falls. And then she walks or he walks across the island, the kitchen island. And all across here on top of the pots and the pans. And then that falls back to the stove. And maybe he goes up here until he reaches the fridge and gets the milk here. But there are a lot of dangers across that path and the dog is gonna help. Okay, so one way to do this is that if I have my baby here, I'll make a rectangle showing where I start. See? And then I want the baby here. Crawling here. So then we're gonna make a camera movement. And then we put arrows showing the direction that we wanna go. Okay, and then we also have to put numbers because we need to know which one is first, even though we have the arrows, okay? So this one is 1 and this one is 2. And then from here, baby, it's gonna be here on the sink on top of, I don't know, on top of all the dishes. And it's sort of like starting to walk. Figuring out how to walk, so, and then we get closer. See how my rectangle gets smaller, slightly smaller. And then we're gonna add the number and again the arrow. So we're following the baby's action, okay? So before I continue, now it's time for you guys to start creating your story. So let's take a couple minutes to think about the stories, okay? Let's try to have stories with the 3 act, okay? So let's take 2 minutes, think about the stories, and let me know once you're ready, okay? I'll put this one here. Let's try to think about like short ideas that we could finish today, okay? So let's do this. Raise your hand if you're doing a comic. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 hands, 5 for comic. So if you're doing a comic, you can do it in just one page, and then your thumbnails are gonna be smaller, and you can vary the size of your thumbnails. Let's see how we can do that. Now, if you're not doing a comic and you're doing the storyboard, then you want the smaller pieces of paper in rectangles, okay? Sort of like the size, the shape of a TV screen. So for the comic, you can, although you can change the size of your thumbnails, but those also go with the action that is happening on the story, okay? They have a direct relationship. So maybe it's like this, and then there's a big one here, and 2 small ones. So remember that we read this way. We go from left to right, down. So then it would be like this, how we read the comic, okay? So if you're doing a comic, do it in just 1 page or maybe 2. And if you're doing the storyboard, let's use smaller pieces of paper, okay?
Hey, Adriana.
Yes?
Hey, I think we had a question from Jojo that I missed. So can we take a moment to answer it?
Yes. Hi, Jojo.
Oh, hold on. Yeah.
So is the thing, if we're doing the storybook, does it have to be about the baby, or could it be our own story?
No, it's supposed to be your own story. It's supposed to be your own story. That's why we're taking a few minutes for you guys to think about your stories. Whether it is a storyboard or a comic, it's your own story, and we're thinking about the stories that you're gonna make. Okay, it's your own story. Alejandro, do you have a question? Hold on.
Does he have a question? Because I can.
Yes, could you open the mic for him, please?
Yeah, it's Alejandro's iPad.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. Oh, wait. Yep, go ahead.
Does the paper have to be like this or like this?
For the comic or for a storyboard?
For the comic.
You can do it either way.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I see some of you already drawing. So Javier, I'm gonna go around asking one by one about their stories. Okay, so I'll need you to help me
Unmute them. Okay.
Okay. So let's see who's ready to start drawing. Who has a story? Raise hands. Okay, we have Lucas, then Jojo, and then Zoe. Okay, let's start with Lucas.
All right.
And we also have Lila. Okay, Lucas.
Lucas, you can go ahead.
My story is about a boy who gets in trouble, and he's sad that he gets in trouble, but his brother helps him gets better.
What type of trouble?
Like, I don't know yet, but I think he gets in trouble because like something bad happened, like he did something meaner.
Okay, is this inside of the house?
What?
Is the action inside of the house or at school?
Inside of the house.
Inside of the house. Okay, think about the place where you want your action to be, okay? Good. Let's go with Jojo. Hold on. Let me, hold on, Jojo. Javier is going to open the mic.
So mine's gonna be about a girl that is blind, and then a girl meets her in the park, and that girl is super nice to her, and she's wondering why she's nice to her, because usually many people like make fun of her for being blind, and then it's because that the girl made her best friend that passed away a promise.
Okay. And then do they become friends from?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then let's start drawing your story. Zoe, are you ready to share your story? No. Yes? Okay, could we get Zoe?
Cat and Hound like to play tag all day. One day, Hound doesn't want to play anymore, and Cat gets mad. Cat gets bored without Hound. Hound gets bored without Cat. Cat brings Hound some bones to chew on. Hound gives Cat some hands, and they call a truce and play tag and hide and.
Okay, good. So the cat is trying to cheer up the hound so he would play again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. You have a story. So let's start drawing that.
I'm gonna draw, okay?
Okay, yes, go for it. Who else is ready to share a story? Okay, we have Alexandra's iPad.
The story is a comic book, and it's about a robber that puts a bomb on his arch nemesis home. And then the superhero deactivates the bomb and puts it in the bad guy's hideout.
Okay. And is it gonna explode at the end?
Yeah, but the robber gets out.
Okay. Okay, and it's gonna be a comic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Who else is ready to share their story? No? Connie's iPad? No, not yet. Okay, let's take a few more minutes to think about story.
Oh, I think we got John.
John?
John.
Okay, we have John.
All right, unmuting. Go ahead.
Well, I've already started drawing the comic.
And what's the story about?
Well, it's about how this villain is like, it's a villain that stays in the woods. Like, its environment is the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day people come to the woods where the villain is and one of them gets captured by it. So they all go and help find it, or help find him, and try to defeat the villain.
Okay. Okay, good. Then, and you're already drawing the story, right? Now,
Yeah.
this goes for everyone. Remember that the way you draw it, the way you decide on the thumbnails, whether it's a close-up or a full shot or a medium shot, emphasizes on the action that the characters are doing. So let's avoid to have all the actions on a full shot. So we have the characters in the center and all the action is with the characters here in the center all the time. Let's try to use multiple shots that we learned today, okay? Let's go with Connie's iPad. Connery's iPad.
And we also have Eduardo is ready to share his, okay?
Okay.
All right, Connery's.
So, a stray cat steals a pie, and then another stray cat steals the pie, and then he has to try to get it, and then they go by lots of races and action, and I don't know which action yet, and then he gets the pie. He gets the pie at the end, and the cat who stole it, gets like hurt, and then the end, and then she gets to eat the pie.
Okay, so is it two cats? Sorry. Oh, Javier, could you?
Yeah, I'm unmuting him. Where? Yeah, Connor, if you want to.
Yeah, I'm here. So, well, it's one cat who stole a pie because it's a stray, and another cat steals it, and the stray wants it back.
Oh, okay. Okay, how about this? I have a suggestion. How about after they fight and go over a lot of action, why don't they share the pie at the end?
Okay, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Okay, that's just a suggestion. Okay, let's start drawing then. Someone is asking if there's a number of squares or thumbnails that you need to do. There's no limit or a minimum. That's gonna depend on your story, okay? Let's try to at least have a story with 8 thumbnails. But you can go a lot more than that.
Okay. We ready to hear Eduardo's story?
Yes.
Okay.
So my plans are, first there's these people playing a game of Minecraft, and then they see that some people are getting wiped out one by one, and because they're a group, and then they solve the mystery, which is a dragon that is secretly eating them all because he wants to get away the ring one of them has, a special ring.
Oh, okay. So, and how do they solve it?
They solve it because one time they see some clues, like they see footsteps and those stuff.
Okay, so do they kill the dragon or do they?
Yeah, they kill it at the end.
They kill it at the end. Okay, you have the story, so go for it.
Okay.
Okay, do we have, is anyone else ready to share the story? No. Sometimes it's easier if you start drawing characters or places, and maybe you come up with the story out of those. So if you're having trouble figuring out the story, let's start with the characters. Like just the sketching, no, don't do the squares, like just the sketch characters. And maybe you come up with a character that you like, and you can imagine a story around that character, okay? Okay, so in the meantime, I'm gonna continue with my storyboard over here and just get a few more small pieces of paper for this, and I'll continue with mine under the camera. Okay, let me just get really quick more paper from here. So as I said at the beginning, let's start just sketching with pencil until you figure out how you want the shot. And once you have the whole story, then you go over the lines and clean a little bit the drawing. So it can be sketchy and sort of like with hairy lines at the beginning, that's okay. It can also be made out of stick figures, that's okay too, okay? Let's see, is anyone else ready to share a story? Kaylee, are you ready? Yes?
Yeah. So a cat was walking and it found a cupcake, and then it started to eat the cupcake, and then another cat came and found the cat eating the cupcake. So then the cat stole the cupcake and ran away with it. But then the other cat found the other cat, and they fought about the cupcake, and then they sorted it out, and they both had the cupcake.
Okay, okay, that's good. And where do you want your story to take place?
In the forest.
In the forest, okay, okay, good. Well, let's start drawing that. How about, let's see, who else is not? Theodore, do you have a story? Not yet. Then how about Mehmet Pinarsi? Do you have a story now? Oh, Javier, could you unmute him, please?
Mehmet?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like this.
All right, go
I
ahead.
don't have a story yet.
You don't have a story yet? Do you have a character in mind?
No.
Okay,
so-
but a good idea is to start sketching the characters, like random characters that you like. That helps with the process because we have half an hour left. So you want to start drawing. That goes for everyone. Okay, so now start with cut more paper and continue with mine in the meantime, okay? So in a little bit, I'll ask you to, for those that are already working on their stories, on their storyboards or comics, I'll ask you to share, to show us a little bit of your drawings. And I'll ask again in a little bit for those that don't have stories yet. So you don't have to get too complicated with this. Let's just enjoy drawing and creating stories. You can take inspiration from everywhere, from your house or the cartoons that you like, or things that you see at your grandparents or with the neighbors, or just imagining things with animals. Okay, so I have a lot of papers here. And remember, for those that are doing a storyboards, to number on a corner your drawings. So they're always organized, or you can always put them back on the right order. So I think I'll have the dog over here. Sort of like trying to get up and help the baby. And maybe over here, we just see him just paying attention for the sounds that the baby is doing as the baby crawls up the couch. So see that I changed my straight line to a curved one. So that means that the camera is gonna do a curve up instead of going a straight line. That way, we will be able to see the dog's reaction on this corner, okay? So he was opening one eye, hearing what the baby's doing. And I'll continue up to here. And then we can cut to this big shot. Where we see the dog trying to reach the countertop.
Adriana,
Yes.
we had a question of if you would be able to show how to do a comic.
How to do a comic. Okay, so how to do the same story in a comic version?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so for the storyboard, we have all our thumbnails in separate pieces that we're gonna put together later. But on the comic, we have just one page, right? So let's start with the one thumbnail that show us the same neighborhood. And we have a house with a window where we have the action. Okay, so the action is on this one. And on this one, as it is a comic, we can have bubbles, right? So maybe we hear from here, the baby sort of like bubbling. Okay, and then we see, which one's my second shot? This one. They're paying attention to the baby. So maybe it's a smaller one. So the size of the thumbnails go along with the importance of the shot, okay? So it's better if we go one by one instead of like just doing a random bunch of squares and rectangles because they are related to whatever action it's happening on the thumbnail. So the next one, maybe it's this one over here. That they're taking care of the baby, but the sound of the baby, it's overwhelming for the dog. So we're gonna make a big bubble of a baby sounds. And remember that the bubbles and the onomatopoeia goes along with the feeling of those sounds. So maybe the sounds are quite watery. So we could see like things dripping from this cloud of dialogue, sort of. Like that, and here we have the baby. Also dripping maybe. And see the arms here. Now what's next on the story? Maybe on the comic we have the dog sleeping. So we want to see that he's sleeping. We make a long one here with the typical C's of sleeping.
Adriana?
Yes?
Jojo just wanted to ask if it's okay that she just finished her characters.
Hi, Jojo. Are you done with the characters or the whole storyboard?
Here, let me unmute her. Hold on.
Just the characters.
Just the characters? Yes, that's okay. Let's see them.
Okay. So wait, give me a sec. One. All right, just writing their names down. All right. So this one was the first one of the blind girl.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I put it into like this a role play thing where you can dress your character up and make it. It's like that, right? And then I took that character and drew it, and this is how the blind girl came out. And this one was a pre-made girl that I already had, but I loved the way that she looked like, and she looked like pretty, so I just drew it on here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, so this goes for everyone. When we're doing character design, it's okay that we have the characters sort of like on this position. It's called a T-pose because we get to see all the details from the clothing to the shapes that make the character, okay? But when we start doing the storyboard, we want to be able to see the actions, and the pose of a character should show us a little bit of their personality and how they feel. So if the girl is sad, maybe she's a little bit like this, not too much, okay? Just a little bit. Or superheroes are like super strong, and like the body language of her characters show that they're powerful, and like that we have a straight lines over here going over the line of action, so they're strong. And then sometimes we have the weak characters going like more like this. So when doing the character design, it's okay to have them like T-poses. But once we start drawing them on the storyboard, let's make sure that the way we make them reads the action that they're doing, okay?
Yep.
Good. Thank you, Jojo. And so here we have dog sleeping. And we'll see that the dog's sleeping, it's sort of like fighting the baby sound. See, because in the comic, the visual representation of sound, it's very important. So we're gonna make the sound of the dog sleeping sort of like fight for space with the baby's sound. And here we have the dog. So we are already showing conflict between those two characters just with the way we visualize how the sounds that they make. And then we have the dog sleeping here. And here's the couch. Okay, and then what's next on the story? They leave the baby next to the dog. So it's like pretty much this shot here. So although we're showing the same story, we're using different visual language to tell the story, okay? Because there are more important things in the comic that rely on how we show the dialogue and the sounds and the shape of our thumbnails that we don't have on the storyboard, because eventually it's going to turn into a film or an animation. So now we're going to get the baby over here. So they're leaving the baby here. Next to the dog. Okay, so does anyone else wants to share their story? No, that's okay. It's okay. You can always just start drawing if you don't feel like sharing with the rest of the students. Okay. Hi, Zoe. Do you have a question?
I made another one.
Okay. Could you put it closer so we can see it?
I didn't really draw the whole.
Oh, okay. You have another story.
Can I read it?
Yes, yes, you can read it.
Mary likes to play with Chloe. They are friends. They play tag and hide and seek. But one day, Chloe wants to play princesses. Mary wants to play pirates. They do not want to play the same thing. Mary gets mad. Chloe gets mad. They are not friends. Chloe misses Mary. Mary misses Chloe. They play again.
Okay.
I
So,
drawing it yet.
so which one do you want to do now?
You gonna do comic or are you gonna do storyboard?
Comic.
Comic? Okay. So it's going to be more like this one, where the sounds are going to be a lot more important. Okay. And where the shape can vary depending on the importance of the action or the part of the story that you're telling. Okay.
Wait, which one is a storyboard again?
Storyboard.
Okay. The storyboard is this one. So I have the same story for my example. So the storyboard is this one. You can also have it in just one page. I know you guys have a template that was sent by Javier. That's also good. You will notice that all the rectangles are the same, and there may be a few lines on the bottom, so you can write the description of the dialogue and the sound.
Excuse me, I wanted to tell you something. I don't know if I'm doing the storyboard because I just made a lot of squares together and I'm gonna draw every single crisis document.
Every
What's the word again? I'm gonna
Thumbnail?
draw I'm gonna draw. I'm starting. I already finished drawing the crisis. Now I'm gonna draw another crisis.
Okay. Okay. So, but I see that you have tiny thumbnails here on the bottom, right? Let's try to get them a little bit bigger. So you have more space.
But I wrote on the top.
It's okay, you can use separate paper.
Yes, you can use more paper.
Okay.
Okay, that's just so first we can see your drawings because if they're too small, it's hard to see them through the camera, and also so you can add more details.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the comic portion. So we established the house and the neighborhood, that there's a bubbling baby, a very loud and sort of like gooey baby in the house, and there's a dog trying to sleep. So both sounds are sort of like fighting each other. And then the parents leave the baby right next to the dog. And probably they will say something I keep an eye on her. And maybe the dog is gonna be like, rah. Now let's see what else is next. Then we should hear the baby making a lot of noises in the kitchen. So we should hear clap and boom and bang of the pans in the kitchen, and that's gonna wake up the dog because he was still asleep when he was supposed to take care of the baby. Now we can make now here the dog is gonna wake up. With his eyes wide open. And we have here the baby making all those sounds somewhere in the kitchen. And then we can see maybe the plates falling and crashing right next to the dog. She reaches up. See, so although we have the same story, the visuals that we use are a little bit different, but we share some similar language in the shot composition, showing what's important, okay? I'll start inking this. Okay, so we have roughly 8-10 more minutes. Let's start looking at your drawings. So who's ready to share drawings from their storyboard or their comics? Jojo, do you want to show? Okay, so could you put them closer to the camera and walk us through your drawings, okay?
Okay, so because I finished my characters pretty late, it's not that much though. So I was showing the girl just sitting there, right? So she's like so she's sitting there and just like breathing because she can't see it. She just wants to take it in by like her other senses. And then this girl's just like walking, And I was gonna draw the same picture, but the girl right here, like crouching down and like talking to her if she's okay and that stuff.
Okay.
But
Jojo, is this a storyboard or a comic?
a comic where it was supposed to.
Okay, so remember to do the outlines for the squares, okay?
Okay.
So we know where one thumbnail ends and where the next one starts.
Okay.
Okay, good. Good job. Now, who else wants to share? No, it's okay to show work in progress like Jojo did. Alejandro, do you want to show?
I already finished one here. I didn't completely finish coloring.
Okay, could you show us closer? Like, could you do something like this where you show us like it goes from here and walk us through your story so we could see it better?
Okay, so here first, guys. Here's the guy. This is like the neighborhood, and the purple one is the bad guy's home, and the other one is the good guy's home. And here's the guy with the bomb, putting it in the good guy's house.
Mm-hmm.
And then the good guy gets the bomb and flies it to the bad guy's house, and it explodes, but he gets out.
Okay. Okay. So you're gonna be coloring for the last few minutes, right?
Actually, I wanted to start with another story because I don't want to forget my idea.
Okay, good. So what's the new idea?
There was a rich guy, and he had a son, but then he started like suddenly he lost his money because he didn't sell so many things or stuff anymore. And then his son started like a mini business and made comic books and sold them. And then they were rich again.
Okay, good. So remember all the shot compositions that we talk about. So maybe we could have a shot where we see just the hand drawing the comic books, okay? Because we need to go into those tiny details to understand the story.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, who else wants to share? Connery's or John, Lucas, anyone else? Theodore, do you want to show your
I think
drawings?
John.
John, okay, let's go with John. And then Connery's.
Well, so far I've started with my first page.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to make the monster like a shadow. Yeah. And the time is nighttime, so that's why I did here like the moon.
Okay.
Yeah, just to show that it's nighttime. Then it says that it used to be a cat.
The shadow
shadow
used to be a
yeah.
cat?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But the only reason the shadow was a cat is because his human abandoned him.
And how are you gonna show us that? How do we know that?
Well, I put here that like on the second page, I showed that he tells us that he's a shadow and that he was abandoned.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you could have on that same paper where it says human big, like maybe just a car leaving a cat alone on the street, or something just leaving someone. Okay. Okay, we have a few minutes. Let's hear someone else before. Let's go with Mehmet.
So the title of my story is The Tile Problem. So a guy named Jim was driving in his car and didn't notice the rock ahead, and poof. Jim looked outside and saw it. He drove to the car service. The guy took out the old tile and replaced it with a new one. Then he drove back home and he parked next to his house and he watched a movie.
Oh, okay. But I see that you have some drawings. Can we see your drawings? Let's see. Oh, and you use the template. Nice. Okay. Okay, that's perfect. Do we have enough time to go with Connery's? Let's go with Connery.
Oh, so where do I start? Oh, I'm so happy I stole a pie, the stray cat said. Hey, that's my pie. Give it back. This is the first thing, and this is the second thing.
Okay.
They ran and ran and ran, but then they came across the stray catchers, troublemakers. Now the dog catcher chased the cats. They ran a long time, but then they ran across the stack. You cat, you stole my pie. Now the
Oh, perfect.
Now the chef chased the cats. They ran even farther until they ran into the cop. Okay, now I'm not finished yet, but I'm almost done.
Okay, keep working on it. Javier, is there an email or a way for everyone to share their final storyboard, their comic? For, I don't know if you guys want like the final product.
Yeah, I can. I'll drop an email address in the chat that you can all send your drawings to. So I'll say it's going to be hello@gablecinema.com. So I'll just put it in there, and once you guys are done, send it to us so we can see what you did.
Yes, that'll be awesome if we could see like some pictures of your final storyboards or comics. I know it's going to take a little bit of time to color them and clean them, but you guys did a great job today, and you have the basics and you have all it takes to finish it.
Well, since we're recording the meeting, I'll also, once it's all ready, I'll send everybody a link to the YouTube link of it so that you can, watch it and go back at the lessons that Adriana gave at the beginning and then later on.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Well, then I think this is all for today. Do we know if we have the same students on Wednesday?
I don't know. Is anyone here also participating in our animation or stop motion workshop on Wednesday? I think Jojo
is. Okay.
Well, hold on. She's.
No?
I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure because sometimes my mom will just like the day before be like, "You're doing this." I'm like, "Okay," so don't know.
Hopefully we'll see you.
Okay, well, you're all invited anyway. So we're gonna be doing a stop motion workshop on Wednesday, same time, okay?
If any of you want to register for it, just go to the website and the link is there, and it'll be the same thing as today.
Okay, good. Well, thank you everyone for attending. You guys did a great job. And I can't wait to see pictures of your final work. Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye.